All right, I just finished up my celestial lion, and hopefully it goes through. But as always, I like to talk about the model before it goes. So things I'm proud of. I think the gold overall, like here, came up really well, and in the back, right. My freehand is even passable. Some things, though, I gotta finish the base, but I realize I don't know what to do when I don't have light sources and it looks kind of terrible. But overall, my metallic metal is coming well, and I hope this helps you. You know, I've been painting for 7 months now, and you know, if I can do it, you can do it. So, anyways, we'll hop right into it. All right, we're gonna begin. I've spray painted them black, because I went ahead and assembled them as if I was doing a real army build, and it's gonna hide some of these areas I can't necessarily reach. And I will be starting off with non-metallic metal paint set by Scale 75, so you could always buy that if you're looking for a little help. I'm gonna adjust the light a little bit. So we got a 50-50 of Sahara yellow and Gobi brown. And everywhere you want the model to be gold, since I'm a celestial lion, it's gonna be all his armor, except for I think his shoulder pads. I'm gonna go ahead and start painting that in. And we are gonna get a little bit darker later for some of the shaded areas. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'm gonna try to avoid things like the eagle and these little, I don't know, what's this, laurels down here, as much as I can. But if I get it, that's okay. We can always paint over. But try not to get it on anywhere you don't have to. All right, and there you go. You're gonna change it around. I decided to put a little more of my Sahara yellow in there to kind of change up the color, and you just gotta find one you like. So now I took Sahara yellow and Titanium yellow, SC10, to mix it together. I got it nice and thinned out, which is kind of nice with the yellows because, as you'll learn, yellows are somewhat difficult to work with. But anyways, I digress. So what I did, I took some pictures of high contrast. Hopefully I remember to put them up there. I did a little practice to figure out what I like. And once I took the high contrast picture with the lighting I want, I realized where I want things to be. So for example, this knee is gonna be kind of like this. And I forgot to take a little bit of that water off my brush. I'm just gonna keep working these little circles, kind of get this up there. I'm gonna go for another glaze right here. I wipe it off on my paper towel. And up here on the knee, the light's kind of hitting it from here. So we're gonna just kind of get it like this and just stroke it up into like where we want it the brightest. The same thing, so I'm thinking the light's coming down like this. It's gonna start hitting it here. So we're going to just kind of move it in like this. And it's okay if it's not the same level all the way through, because if you look at metals reflecting, I wish I had some. Man, I don't really own much. It's not always going to be the same there. I will move it inwards on this side as well. So it's going to take a long time. I mean, this is the process, right? And every so often, just kind of check it on your thumb. Make sure, yeah, I got a little bit there. And I'll just keep working it towards the brightest spot, right? And I can keep working my way in or working my way out. So this one, I started here and ended here. I'm gonna move over a little bit and I'm gonna go there. And I think it's better to go a little bit farther because you can always blend that out and just work around the model. Well, my glazing is doing fine, but that's not why I'm stopping it. I almost made a huge mistake. I got some black ink, which you can use black wash, I guess, if you don't have black ink. And you don't want to go too far because you're going to have to kind of relayer things if you do. And you're going to go through, like, for example, like right here. You just got to brace your hands on the table so you're steady as possible. I'm using the Psycho brush, but just any fine tip brush you have. just know the more mistakes you make, the more work you have to redo. There you go. And it's all along, right? So like right below here. So we're gonna do this joint here, and hopefully I don't mess it up. I'm just gonna come in there. And slowly work my way around so there's a nice black line everywhere. And just use whatever brush you can, man. Take your time. And that way you can, if you mess up and it goes over, if you're quick, you can just rinse out some water, wash it off. But if you're not quick enough, you can always just repaint it. And you really don't want to do it over your glazing, because if you get all the way to, like, say here, which that was my test side, and you got to redo it, you're going to be quite upset. So I've gathered all the parts here, and I got a little contrast in my video so you can kind of see like where I've put mine. Doesn't mean I'm right, it's just what I've committed to. I've got some, just the brighter yellow I'm using. All right, dab it off of my cloth, and we're gonna do the same thing. So I got this large area, we're gonna come in a little bit, and we're gonna just kind of work on the inside. Right, and then for this, right, we're gonna kind of come in here. It's a little bit on the inside. Everywhere we were, I already did this. We can kind of work it in. I already did this where you can see it start to glow up a little bit, where light, and my mind's hitting it. Hopefully I'm not blind. So I like to work like kind of 3 pieces at a time. So I would do like this leg or this little section here, right? And just kind of, I found the chopping makes it kind of look nice. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, because then it kind of makes it look like the steel or the metal has a little bit of a texture to it. But yeah, just keep working it. We're gonna hope these guys turn out really nice. Here you go, he's looking okay. So now I'm gonna combine my yellow and my white. It's this white sands. And it's gonna be a couple layers, because look how, I don't know if you can even see it, like how thin it is. But we're just gonna, same thing, right? So as we did before, just keep it right there in the middle as my tray falls on my manly bits. And you're just gonna kind of work it. And I've been trying to do like a stipple, kind of little chops. I'm trying to make it look like it's reflecting a little more. Hopefully that works out. And then we're gonna do one more after this of just the white. All right, once you're done, we're gonna do our last layer, which is just the white. So make sure you get some white, and it shouldn't be too much because you already have a light layer of white on there. And just come in and just kind of give the little chops right there in the middle. Just like a little reflection of the light coming in. It's gonna be real faint. But it should come out okay. And when you're done, you can either do this part after you do the shading, or you can do it now. We're gonna just come along all the edges. And as much as you can, try to angle it and get all the edges. And where you can't, get a nice edge, just kind of get a nice little thin brush and come along the sides. So you're gonna end up with something a little bit like that. Here he is. I went ahead and outlined. Now we're gonna do the shadows. So the first shadow I'm gonna do is with Gobi Brown. And make sure it's really light. And we're gonna pick areas. So like this, it's gonna be like underneath. So we'll start working our way down. And if you find that maybe it's just a little too much, you can always go back to your previous area and glaze it back up and in. And hopefully we can get rid of some of these ink issues. And then on the side here, let's pick another one. It's like this, where I have a glaze like, or it's coming down. I'm just gonna just work its way over here. So we can kind of transition over. Just take your time and ask yourself, why did you decide to paint a non-metallic metal marine when you could have just painted him gold and called it a day? It would have been a lot easier. A lot easier. And here's our model with all the shading. So now what I've done is I mixed in like a dark gray, I got a lips gray, with my darkest brown, which is the Gobi brown. You have to really thin this out because the darker they are, those pigments get a little darker. But we're gonna come in and just right down here, right? Even there you can see where maybe it's a little too, even there has too much pigment. And so like right up here, just right underneath, we'll get a little shade in there. Along here, kind of come down where it's falling right beneath his uniform or tabard thing, right along here. And we'll just kind of tie it up. And good luck to you. And there you go, you should start seeing some shadows in there. I am grabbing a darkish blue for Griffin blue. And I'm gonna start working on the shoulder pads, and I'm gonna deviate a little bit because I've seen mixed pictures and I don't like the black. So I'm gonna do that also in the blue. So I'm gonna work on the shoulder. And the other pad, I'm gonna do his little tabard here. I'm sure it has a real name. And just try to be careful not to get anything on all the work you've just done. All right, now my shoulder pads are done. I went ahead and painted that because it's very small. I have Voice Shield blue, and I've kind of just mixed the halfway mark in there. And the halfway, and it's hard to see, I just kind of come along here, trying to leave a little bit of the black line for the shadow. And then I get the lighter one, and I just give it the little tips and around the edges so it stands out. So you go ahead and get that done, and then we're gonna do the same thing, mixing these for that. Oh, and I went ahead and put some black lines around while I was cleaning it up. And here you go. A couple of things I want to note out. I was looking at artwork. Their guns are blue, so I forgot that. And their belt's supposed to be gold. I'm not gonna do that. I've done enough gold for right now. And this little guy, I'm gonna hit it with a quick little ink wash just to get those little recesses in there. I guess it's kind of optional. And I haven't figured out what I want to do for the heraldry. If you have something you want to do for your unit, do that. But anyway, so what I've done is I've got my off black, which is necromantic cloak for me. And I'm gonna go into all these little recess areas here. I'm just gonna clean it up. I'm just gonna take some time because I don't want to redo the gold. God knows I already have to do it all. I'm gonna do this. You can do whatever color you want. And I'm gonna do all the gun too, because I want the gun to have kind of a grayish or black. I'm not 100% yet. And just work my way around, leaving this part blue, right, as we work it out. So just kind of work your way anywhere there's kind of these connections. Just kind of take your time and don't get anything in there. I'm not in there. Anything on your previous work. Oh yeah, and I did the freehand. Look at that. So if you think you're bad at freehand for drawing lions and stuff, hey man, we're all in this together. I'm just pulling for you. And there you go. I got all that. What I'm gonna do is just get a black wash. Any old black wash will do, or ink. And I just, because it's hard for me to get into some of these spots. I'm just gonna go back over, make sure I get all these little recesses, right? And just kind of work my way around the gun. I don't think I need to get in there, but if you've made it sloppy, that's always a good time to kind of clean it up a little bit. And while that dries, we're going to do all the skulls because it's going to take about like 30 minutes for this to dry. All right, so we got all that drying. While it dries, I'm going to finish up the skull. So I got Banshee Brown, which is like a really light tannish brown. I like to go for a bleach. Kind of like, I am going to paint over his shield this color, and it's just so it's going to be easier when I paint it white for my base on this shield. Or whatever heraldry you want to do, knock yourself out. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of get all these little skulls. I'm going to leave the eye sockets alone. Get all the ones here on the bottom. I mean, there's goddamn skulls everywhere in these models. I will also do the little names or whatever these little ribbons are to give them a little bit of depth as well. So good luck finding all the skulls on your model. And there you go, I got all the pieces. Now I'm going to mix my skeleton bone with the Banshee Brown with the skeleton bone. They're very similar. I'm just going to put a little bit on my palette and then a little bit about the same. Get a little water on my brush. And I don't necessarily want a glaze, maybe a thick glaze. These are pretty small. This is my biggest skull. Here he is. And I want to start getting all the raised areas, right? And maybe leaving this little gap down there, right? And just kind of working my way around. And it's okay if you're kind of like halfway glazing it as you work it. And then if you're following along with me, I'm gonna do one little layer here of just pure Banshee. It's just gonna make sure it's nice and thin. That way when I get to my white, it's gonna be nice and popping. So yeah, just take your time, find your little skulls and just kinda work on the little raised areas. You'll be all right. All right, I've kind of went ahead and forgot about it. I got my off-white, which is mummy robes. And now I have it all there. I'm gonna just come along and just hit the highlighted regions there. Because I've been working my layers up, right? And when I get all the way done, I'll take my actual pure white and I'll just grab like the little highlights. So here I'm highlighting this like skull. So I'll get like these eyebrows, maybe up here a little bit. And then make sure we get anywhere that you want nice little solid white. Kind of work through. Maybe I'll try to fix up this beautiful tactical marine doodad. There we go, we'll work it. And then just go along if you want, take a nice little pure white or matte white and do a little edge highlighting. And by the time you finish this, you can put your little writings on there and we can go back to our grays. First, let me say, ignore that heraldry, I'm not done. I haven't figured out what I want to do yet. Second, I'll just grab the medium gray, which is just ash gray. Oh no, that's my light gray. Castle gray. And I've already started here because I find it very hard to get some of the stuff. So I'm gonna come along and just very gently with my medium gray, right, just try to get right along these raised edges. Wow, that's blobby, that's terrible. Let's try it back here. Maybe I can brace myself a little better on the mini. Just try to get these raised areas. And then along the gun, where I can, I'm gonna take the edge of my brush and gently work my way down, right? Anywhere I can. Try to get these raised regions. And it's gonna be a little hard, but take your time and listen to a podcast, I guess. All right, so now we've done all the highlighting, I'm grabbing Angel's Green, which is the knockoff brand of Dark Angel's Green. And I'm just gonna get this little gem, paint it all green. I'm gonna give it a little happy gem effect. Then we gotta wait for it to dry. Oh boy, the excitement. I also went ahead and painted this thing gray. I don't know what I want to do with it yet. And for the strap, I think I'm just gonna go with the Gobi brown that we had earlier. And give it a nice little brown shade and kind of work its way up. Actually, I think I'm gonna go with oak brown. And we'll get that. So I can do that while the green dries. All right, and then we finished up whatever detail they did last. I don't remember. It's been a day. Anyways, I finished with the brown oak. I went back and I redid him. In the black, so we have kind of a theme. And I put the green on all three of those. Anyways, we're gonna work on the skin. And I have about a 50-50 of basic flesh and pink flesh. That's gonna be my base coat. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mix them in there. If I was, doing a full on scale, I'd probably, if I was doing a unit or something, I'd probably take a little more time. But I'm just gonna go ahead and work it with a nice thin layer and try to avoid anywhere I have already stuff and avoid his hair. Although I think I'll go back and give him brown hair, that same oak, just because it'll save me a little bit of time. If you use the same colors in kind of different places, it speeds up your painting. Which is important if you're doing like a squad or something. If you're doing an individual guy, then who cares? All right, now we're gonna take the lighter color and mix it with golden skin. And we're gonna kind of get the highlights. I'm just gonna put a little bit here, a little bit there. This is a little bit lighter. And I'll get a little bit of water on my brush so I can do kind of like a heavy glaze. I want to pick the raised regions, right? So let's get a little zoomed in there. So for example, along the nose here. Now we're gonna get the last of this guy. We're mixing in our darker color with Indian Shadow. And just get a nice little like kind of glaze. And just go in the areas that are recessed, right? So like underneath this cheek here. Try to glaze it in a little bit. And the models are pretty small. This is more, it's gonna be a lot of work. Trying to get into some of these kind of recessed areas. But do the best you can, right? Do the best you can. And I think after that, you could probably call it here, but I'm gonna add a couple more highlights and some shadows, just mixing the colors to get it a little. There you go. I've highlighted his face a little bit for my own. A little bit of shadows. Just using the colors we had. Just kind of worked it out. So now we're gonna do his little gem and his little eye. So I just grabbed a little bit lighter of a green. I got green skin. And I wanna do like a whoosh motion, right? If this is a circle, I want a whoosh. So I want to leave the upper part there. I'm just going to kind of leave that top quadrant open. And I'm going to do the same thing. So this is my circle. First color is going to go here. Next color is going to come in, do a little bit less. And the last color is going to come in, do the very bottom. And then we get a nice bright color and tap it on the top. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the eye. And after that, I guess base your model and hope you enjoy it.